Story 1. At a school known for its strictness, there was a teacher who was a true legend among the students. He epitomized patience and kindness, a man who devoted himself tirelessly to each student, not minding losing his own time and even his lunch to ensure that each one reached their potential. This teacher, with an almost unshakable commitment to teaching, seemed to have a supernatural ability to handle any challenge. But there was one student, a girl whose behavior tested even the most patient of men. She was the typical troublemaker who turned the classroom into a daily battlefield. Her behavior was so disruptive that you wondered how she was still in school. She ignored warnings, disrespected rules, and challenged the teacher's authority with unusual boldness. Despite repeated efforts to restore order and discipline, the girl continued to create chaos, especially in chemistry class, where her irreverent attitude seemed potentially dangerous. On a particularly critical day, she was drinking soda while the teacher tried, in vain, to warn her about the risks of contamination with chemicals. But the question remained, how could such a potentially dangerous situation have been allowed to go on for so long? Tension reached its peak when, after months of constant provocation, the teacher finally lost his patience, but in a way no one could have predicted. In an act of desperation mixed with a strange form of justice, he walked over to the girl's desk, took the soda, and, in a dramatic and unexpected gesture, poured the drink over her head. Without a word, he returned to the front of the room and continued his lesson as if nothing had happened. The act, although shocking, was a turning point. Instead of prompting a reflection on injustice or the effectiveness of the discipline system, it resulted in the teacher's dismissal, despite the students' efforts to defend him. How could someone so devoted to teaching be punished for such an extreme action? And what does the school's response reveal about the education system and the true nature of discipline? Story 2. I never witnessed this myself, but my father has told me this story many times, and every time he starts, it's as if I'm there, sitting in the room, watching everything unfold. What I can tell you about my great-grandparents is that they were German. My great-grandfather had fought in World War I. Yes, he was captured and spent some time as a prisoner of war. What he went through during those days in captivity is not known for sure, but something that always marked my family is how it shaped him. He was a man of few words, always kind, but the war seemed to have taken a part of him forever. His hearing, for example, was never the same. He was always there, present, but at the same time, distant, lost in thoughts and memories that no one could reach. My great-grandmother, on the other hand, was the opposite. She liked to keep the house lively and loved games, especially when she could tease my great-grandfather. It was her way, that relentless energy that sometimes became annoying but was also what kept the place vibrant. One day, my father and his siblings were at their house, one of those typical family visits, when something unexpected happened. My great-grandfather was sitting in his favorite chair, the one by the fireplace, smoking his traditional straw cigarette. As usual, he remained silent while my great-grandmother, who never stopped talking, droned on about a subject she had long lost interest in. At that moment, something inside her changed, as if a spark had ignited her. She picked up a poker, an object that had been used just to stoke the fire, and threw it at my great-grandfather. The poker flew through the air, as if time had slowed down for a brief instant. Everyone in the room held their breath. The poker landed on the chair, right between my great-grandfather's fingers, without touching him. It was one of those situations where you don't know whether to laugh or be horrified. He didn't move a muscle, didn't blink, just sat there, calm and impassive. But what happened next is what really left everyone stunned. With a serenity that few would have after such an episode, my great-grandfather simply stood up, removed the poker from the chair's arms, placed it back by the fireplace, and sat down again. Then, for the first time in years, he looked directly at my great-grandmother and said, with the utmost calmness, "You're not going to do that again, are you?" The room fell into complete silence. What goes through someone's mind after such an unexpected reaction? My great-grandmother, who was always full of energy and ready to argue, was completely paralyzed. She, who always seemed to have a response ready, couldn't utter a single word. It was as if my great-grandfather, with that simple sentence, had changed something inside her forever. Did she realize, at that moment, that she might have crossed a line? Was it just the shock of seeing my usually peaceful great-grandfather finally assert himself? No one knows for sure. But what remained from that afternoon was that, after that episode, something changed between them. They stayed together for many years after that, and, curiously, there was never another incident like that one. Maybe that moment was enough for my great-grandmother to realize that, despite my great-grandfather's unwavering calm, there was a line that shouldn't be crossed. Or maybe, that day, we all learned that even the calmest people have their limits, and that sometimes, the most powerful reaction is not the one accompanied by shouting or confrontations, but the one that comes with a calm and simple statement made at just the right moment.
Check out the next video, where I share even more valuable tips to change your life. Leave a like, subscribe, and comment on your experiences. Your participation is essential for us to grow together. And don't forget, don't let the ghosts of your mind control you.